knight h3 and queen d2. If you're watching this as a beginner, actually, if you're just watching this period, you should not play chess like this with white. You will lose because you will not be able to coordinate and keep together the three sides of the board. But yeah, this queen b4, actually, funny story, on Wednesday night earlier this week, I played in the Paris Blitz Society, a game against James Canty, who was hyping up the crowd downstairs, and our position looked similar to this. He attacked me on the queen side with black, and if he can break through, he would have had something, but I managed to checkmate him first. So that's kind of what Hikaru is going to look to do, right? He's going to look to get the light squared bishop out, and then maybe castle, and then prepare some sort of attack.
And it's very tempting in these positions, Levy, to play f4 prematurely, because you want to get that attack started, you want to kick this knight out. But this is why the King's Indian is such a tricky opening. You try to kick pieces away, they move on to even more active squares. f4 is met with knight to c4. That basically forces Hikaru to give up the bishop pair. And this e4 pawn, you want to make sure that it doesn't become a major target for black, because black can attack it many different ways.
And even take it sometimes. I mean, you could literally sacrifice, not right now because it's well protected, but there are positions, yeah, look at Hikaru, queen c2. Ooh. You know, this is one of those positions where having the evaluation bar is completely meaningless. Like 0.5 here is like 0.5, but you have to juggle 3 potatoes and they're all on fire at the same time. Like something will crash. But Hikaru is very experienced. He plays queen c2. I just want to point out, I think of e4, d4, c4, and knight f3. d4 is like the least popular move that he plays. He almost never plays d4 on the first move.
Especially online. Yeah. One knight f3 and then c4, b3, but his pawn doesn't end up on d4 until at least move 8 or move 9. But Firouzja's queen might end up off of this board if he's not careful. Bishop d2, what a tricky retreating move by Hikaru. What is he threatening? He is threatening this knight jump to b5. Let me show this on our first analysis board of the SCC. Let's say that Alireza keeps improving his position. He's not going to do that. White moves the knight up to b5, or not, but this is a discovered attack against the queen. Could we see a queen sacrifice in the event of knight b5?
This is how ridiculous the King's Indian is. How is the queen not trapped?
I mean, maybe it is. Maybe black plays knight takes d5, sacks the queen, gets a bunch of pieces for it. We might get total pandemonium here. But Alireza, after a long think, he tries to solve his problems tactically with knight c4, hitting this bishop, trying to earn more real estate for the queen.
Yes, and after rook to b3, I guess his idea is bishop takes a4.
Whoa.
Pinning the rook to the queen. And that is the best move. Also, isn't there a knight hanging at the end? Oh, but the rook is trapped.
This is an unbelievable line. I have to, Hikaru is processing this right now.
Yeah.
Rook to b3. Queen can't move, right, because the knight is lost. So Alireza is planning to take on a4. Good call. This pins the rook to the queen. White takes the queen. Black takes the queen. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Black's down a piece.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Now the rook is trapped.
Yeah.
We're going to get 2 pieces for a rook.
Oh, but I think he missed b5. Knight takes b5.
Because otherwise you lose the whole rook.
Yeah.
Nope. Knight takes b5, exposing a discovered attack against the bishop.
Yeah, because
simple chess, Levy. This is too basic. We need real calculation.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, but I think this is what he missed, because you never give up the knight here. Oh, but they didn't even do this.
Short circuit. New commentator pairs.
What just happened?
Alireza sacked his queen. Rook b3 was played, and instead of taking on a4, Firouzja took the bishop, sacking the queen.
Oh, man.
And he will get a rook and a piece for it. Look at that King's Indian bishop. It's uncontested.
And you've had games like this with black, and I feel like black is fine.
You mean down a queen against Hikaru? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you said that.
I've had that too.
Yeah, but if you take on a4 and start pushing your a-pawn, I mean, practically speaking, white is doing great. Black is doing great.
No, and this is the beauty of the King's Indian, the eval bar. Well, now it changes. Before that, it hadn't changed. It was 0.5 on move 3. It was 0.5 on move 19, and Alireza's in the driver's seat here.
I just want to point out that the line for black to get an advantage here is so simple. You move the knight to d7, your bishop opens up, and then you play b5. And like, what else were you planning to do?
Pushing pawns, as Hikaru likes to say. Well, I mean, I would be also tempted to push the a-pawn, especially because this promotion square is controlled by the uncontested dark square bishop. I'm just curious, how is Hikaru going to generate counterplay fast enough to counteract that, Levy? Maybe you just push your pawns in the center if you're white, try to deflect black's attention.
But where are you putting your king? You haven't moved your light squared bishop. Where are you putting your king?
Yeah, I hadn't gotten around to that yet. Hadn't arranged it.
Yes, we just advanced. I will have everybody know that the giant question mark on the screen has dropped Hikaru's accuracy to only 98%. So, yeah, this immediate move feedback is really like upsetting, because you just get told you're stupid and then it just sits there. But like, it's a very normal move. He's opening up his queen. He's trying to fight for the queen side. And by the way, Alireza has a minute down. I mean, he only has 90 seconds to figure out this position. And if he's not fast enough with his counterplay, Hikaru's up a freaking queen.
He's up a queen in a minute. Those are two things that you do not want against Nakamura. Folks, this is game one of the first semifinal of the Speed Chess Championship. Thank you, everybody joining us around the world and live on site in Paris. It's Hikaru versus Alireza. It's a same-ish King's Indian with a queen sack, and with Levi Rosman predicting Alireza's knight maneuver, and dropping back, looking good.
I will just say, what would the odds have been of a King's Indian same-ish being the first opening of this match?
I mean, you don't want the same-ish old stuff every game. I mean, you want some new stuff.
That was good. That was good.
First pawn of the day. They'll get better, I promise. Knight to c5, but look at knight d3.
Yeah.
Deflecting, I mean, trying to undo the Gordian knot here on the queen side.
But what was the... I mean, can we back up? He was forked. Why? So what was the point? Like, before knight c5, it's a fork.
He had to play b5, apparently.
Give up the... Wow, look at this. b5, queen d6, and bishop c3. And this is good for black.
And then BC actually opens up a defender on that knight on d7.
But that's not findable. Wow.
So instead he went knight c5, Hikaru finds knight d3, Alireza pushes.
Yes, and it's very important for the fans at home watching, and also here, you are also more than welcome to learn with us. It's very important when you play with an imbalance of queen versus rook and piece, that you trade the right pieces at the right moments, and that way the queen is not subjected to the teamwork of the enemy pieces. Right now, yes, Alireza has two pieces for that queen, but the light-squared bishop for black is useless. And this wall of pawns that Hikaru has on the board stands very nicely and does a great job fighting off the counterplay that black can create.
And if the dark-squared bishop becomes useless, then you're in big trouble, and it might, because Hikaru is just a couple steps away from pushing f4 and e5. Yep. It feels like Alireza, he keeps preparing something, and by the time he prepares it, I mean, you know, my flight out of Paris might be out. And he's got to get his pawns rolling.
Yeah, let's show, like, there's a line, king d2, b5, you take, bishop b5. And yeah, so king d2, b5, we can just quickly show this on the board. You take, bishop b5, rook b1. And I think that's just the end of the game, because you trade a bishop and a rook, and that's it.
Not here, because the rook is hanging. First you trade the rooks. Yes. And Levy, this is what you're saying. This is the exact wrong kind of imbalance. Black's just dropping all of his pawns.
Correct. I'm not educating you, but just, you know, if anybody's out there listening. Yeah, this is exactly what you don't want.
But instead, king f2 by Nakamura. Look at both players under a minute. First game is obviously going to be a time scramble. I think a lot of games are. Hikaru trying to mobilize his rook, trying to make sure that this pawn doesn't get past a4, the b7 pawn doesn't get past b5. I think this is what Hikaru wants. He wants time scrambles, especially when you've got a queen and your opponent doesn't. But I forget who the bullet champion is.
Yeah, it is Alireza, but Alireza started those games with an equal position and 1 minute each. I mean, getting dropped into a bullet game in a losing position is not necessarily a good thing. But it is Hikaru's game to lose. Like Magnus said yesterday, it's his match to, it's his event to lose. This is Hikaru's game to lose.
But I think this is now not looking great for black. Alireza, he finally played b5. At least he gets to keep an extra pair of rooks on the board. Yes. But one thing we haven't talked about, Levy, Hikaru also has a pass pawn. Yep. You can't push it just yet because the bishop will drop back with a fork. Now you can. Yeah. Now he will. He could also play rook e1 and e5. Yeah. Alireza's not fast enough on the queen side.
You could also play h4, maybe like just to poke and see what opportunities you can open up for your king. But yeah, I think d6 is very natural. I would play it as long as bishop e5 check and rook b6 isn't just immediately bad.
Which is immediately bad for white. And how easy is it to blunder your queen to a skewer? Your king is not too safe if you're Nakamura, but rook e1 is on the board, cold-blooded. He's two steps away. e5, e6 is coming. Black's king is going to get under fire.
Yeah, rook e1. I mean, yeah, it may be better than running the pawn was simply bringing the rook that you haven't moved the entire game. Rook b6 and...
Ooh, now you can't push your pawn.
Okay, queen f4.
3 seconds for Alireza. Maybe bishop e5 check. Try to provoke some weaknesses.
Yeah, Alireza with 3 seconds on the clock. It's simply not going to get it done here.
You could maybe even take the pawn, but Hikaru goes back to c6.
But now you can either walk your king or even f4, but... Okay.
Clinical so far. g3 preparing f4. Alireza keeps pushing.
An avalanche is coming. f4, e5, d6. Oh my goodness.
Wait, but Alireza trying to complicate the game. If
fe, queen c3, maybe?
But... Yes, but then the other rook doubles on b2.
Yes, then you run your king. Oh, this is very dangerous. d6.
I got one too.
Queen c8 check is there. Okay,
it's coming next.
Yes, queen c2, queen c8. Boom.
But it's still, you still have to convert this. Alireza's got another pass.
I thought it was just winning. Queen c4 and queen d5.
You're so close, but black's pieces are coordinating. This is what Alireza does. Bishop g1, threatening h5.
Oh my god. Oh, but Hikaru's in time.
Zig and zagging out of the trap, and Hikaru's going to win.
King g5, queen f7.
F6.
Game 1.
Mate, no, you're pinned.
Yes, just in time. Hikaru takes game 1.